Hey, welcome back to the Wrestle Show once again. As always, hit that like and subscribe button down below, and let's get right to the news of the day. I don't know if you caught it, but back on the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, WWE ran an advertisement for a show coming up on the WWE Network. I believe it's already ready for viewing. And that is a series about Kurt Angle, his rise and fall, basically, of his first stint in the WWE, as well as his return to the WWE after 11 years of not being in the company. That said, it should be a good series because it's supposed to discuss, the highs and lows of his career with WWE, the self-destructive behavior, as Vince called it, in the preview, that led to Kurt Angle leaving. Kurt Angle will discuss it, the demons he dealt with that led to his problems, and I think it should be a good series for the network and the WWE. I think the fans will enjoy it as well because, if you remember, Kurt Angle was a very important and integral part of that late Attitude Era in the WWE. Especially, he came in after the '98 Olympics after some training and came in, and he was just one of the most intense and probably one of the best wrestlers of the time, if you want to talk about wrestlers in general. Now, you had other people that were more over at the time when he came in that weren't necessarily, amateur style wrestlers, but you had your Stone Colds and your Rocks, and they weren't really, wrestlers. They were professional wrestlers. They weren't amateur wrestlers, to say the least. And Kurt Angle brought his athleticism as well as his talent of amateur wrestling and used it pretty well in professional wrestling, as well as mixing it with the more professional style of storyline based wrestling, I suppose you could say, where the moves aren't really about wrestling. It's more about looking like you can do doing the most damage you can without actually hurting the guy, I guess. But that said, it should be a good series. I think it'll be really enjoyable for the fans, and I know I plan to check it out here in the near future. Let me know down in the description below if you've seen any of it, or when you do see it, come back and let me know what you thought about it. Also, Noam Dar and Cedric Alexander will be competing in an I Quit match on 205 Live this week, apparently. It'll apparently supposed to put to rest their entire storyline, their entire feud between Cedric, Noam Dar, and the whole Alicia Fox BS. Anyways, that's really all I got about that. That's what's going to happen apparently Tuesday. I'm hoping that's over because that storyline is about as boring as can be. It's as boring as a Miz promo, for crying out loud. That said, one last little bit of information here, which is the whole main story for this video. Shelton Benjamin will be making his return to the WWE in the very near future on SmackDown Live, according to WWE's official Instagram account. They reported just yesterday that he had agreed to a contract and would be signed to the WWE SmackDown Live brand. And I think this was definitely a good upside for the WWE and good for him as well, and really good for the WWE Universe. Because Shelton Benjamin was a really good wrestler when he was in the WWE. He's kind of like Kurt Angle. He's always really intense, had a really good amateur wrestling background. Not to mention his ability to excel in the Money in the Bank and other ladder matches. It was always fun to watch him. It's kind of like watching Kofi Kingston. You never knew what the heck the guy was going to do next. And if you ask me, you can't ask much more than that, and out of a wrestler. Except, one thing about him is he always took risk. He always put his body on the line, to make the wrestling matches that he was in even better. He was always one to do that. He was always one to put a little more showmanship, I guess you could say, into his matches to make the matches more entertaining for the fans. Even when he was a heel, he was still really good at making the matches good. That said, that's all I got for you today. I'm glad to see Shelton Benjamin back. And let me know what you down below what you think of Shelton Benjamin's return. And what do you think of the Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar feud in general? You asked me, that's one of the most boring feuds ever. Anyhow, check out my other videos as well. And hit that like, subscribe button. And I'll see you down the road.